Hey guys, Kelly Dunlap here, metabolism and hormonal fat loss coach. Just getting set up here and I'm going to get my phone ready so I can see who's here. When you jump on, say hello so I can see that you are here. Awesome, awesome, welcome. Thank you for spending your Sunday with me. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. All right, so knowing that we are good here, then I can. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to share my screen here and get ready to rock and roll. And then we will get started. Okay. Hey, David. Hey, Charis. Hey, Ida. Awesome sauce. Okay, so I'm trying to get my phone to set up properly here. Cool. Well, very good. All right. So I hope that you have gotten some valuable information out of what I had shared so far. And as you know, I had shared the actual plate that I give my clients, which is a fantastic, amazing tool. Now, if you hadn't taken advantage of that plate, I just have to tell you that you're crazy, because it can definitely change things for you. If you had tried using the plate, I would love to hear from you and would love to know what has transpired for you. And I did put out there about, chatting with me about your results. And I know a couple of us have been talking back and forth. I have not forgotten, and we'll definitely get that. We'll have that discussion for sure. So, all right, let's rock. So day 2, how to lose stubborn belly and back fat. Now, I always just focus on the belly mainly, because the back fat, honestly, is just more of a, I need to get my nails filled. My nail just got stuck in my hair. The back fat is, honestly, it's a byproduct of, the same. So let's carry on. All right, so here we go. So day 2, we are going to talk about your personal preferences, your perceptions in psychology, as well as physiology a little bit, and then what you are focusing on, because it very well could be, and more than likely is, the wrong thing. And I think that we kind of covered that already in our meeting on last week. All right. Okay, so carrying on. All right, so this was the plate visual. This is what you had to work with. And I think for several, at least if you had filled out the form, the survey that I had sent out, there were a lot of you that were like, oh my gosh, there was just, I had no idea about a lot of things. And one of the most resourceful tools that you had was the plate. So I'm really glad that you took advantage of that, because it will definitely help you. So we're going to talk about this plate visual in the sense where how it fits in with your personal preferences and your perceptions as well. Okay. Now, most people, and maybe even you were one of these people, looked at this plate thinking, what do I do now? I don't know what the fuck to do with this thing. I don't know what to eat. I need a meal plan. That's what most people think. I need a meal plan. Just tell me what to do. Because I don't want to do the work, and I don't want to get uncomfortable, and I just don't want anything to be hard. And my friend, meal plans steal your journey. And we're going to talk about that in a second. They think I need a meal plan, that there's only one way of eating, because I'm either perfect or a shit show. I'm either on or off the wagon. You know how I roll. It's all or nothing with me. I'm either good or bad, because that's my perception of how things should be in order for me to lose weight. Because in order for me to lose weight, I'm either good or bad. There's no in between. I can't have balance, because I don't know what the fuck that is. You see what I'm saying? Crazy, isn't it? Am I in your head? I bet you I am. I bet you this sounds very familiar. And you're like, oh my God, hearing it from her, I do sound like a kook ball, right? So the majority of the time, if you have this perception in your mind that you have to be good in order to achieve results, that in order for me to get the results, it means that I have to be good. And that's according to my beliefs. And according to my beliefs, if I'm good, that means I'm perfect. That means I'm doing all good, right? Bad, if you use good, bad, I was bad yesterday. How many times have you talked to your friend and said, God, I was so bad all weekend. I got to start over on Monday. I was so bad. Oh my God, I was bad. I had a cookie. Bad means, according to my beliefs, that means no results. I ate a cookie. Do you have any idea? Every single week, one of my beautiful, amazing, not one of, the majority of them, they'll say, I'm not so, I was just so surprised, because every week they check in with me, they take pictures and their measurements and the way, and they're like, I was just so surprised. I thought that because I had, such and such on the one day, that it was going to ruin everything. Now, this is part of why they're with me, is because I help them to recognize this kind of screwball thinking. And then when they actually take the data meaning step on the scale, take their measurements, all that stuff, they realize, like, what was I stressing out about? That didn't affect me at all. Got it? Okay. Moving on. Keep hitting this and it keeps. Okay, so here we go. Meal plans steal the journey from you. The journey is where your transformation takes place. Let me say that one more time. The journey is where the true transformation takes place. You, my friend, have to go through the journey. You have to figure out what foods work for you and what foods don't. If I handed you a meal plan, that's taken away the journey from you. And I could be handing you a list of foods that speak to you on a cellular level in a very shitty way, and you would feel like crap. It doesn't make any sense. Meal plans, if somebody's advertising a meal plan, it's not going to be in your best interest on a cellular level. And it's like, oh, okay, you're going to make it easy for me. Oh, okay. It's kind of like telling your kid you do their homework for them. Same thing. You're taking away the journey. Okay. You're not going to learn anything if somebody hands you a meal plan. It just is what it is. Does that make sense? Give me a 1 if you think, oh my gosh, yes, that's so true. Or give me a 2 if you think I'm crazy. Okay. All right. Moving on. Why is my computer acting so weird? Okay, so here's the thing. The reason why we have these issues, you guys, is because our perceptions somewhere along the way have been misconstrued. We have been told, or influenced by, rather, people in our lives that food is either that good or bad, right? That you're either on the wagon, off the wagon. This is a learned thing, you guys. This is not something that you just created overnight. As I talked about before, that our subconscious mind is only 7 years old, and it is extremely influenced when we are between the ages of 0 and 7. And so we carry on these behaviors that we have been taught. So it's our job to undo a lot of this stuff. So food should be viewed as fuel. No foods should be demonized or off limits ever. You should always be asking yourself, how will this affect me hormonally? So what I'm saying is that you have the choice if you decide if something is off limits or if you need to demonize it. Like, for example, this weekend I had a lot of gluten and I was like, oh, my eyes. And that I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew that I was going to have this biofeedback. I knew the consequence. I knew that it was coming. I knew that I was going to have to deal with it. I made the choice to say, okay, yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and have that, but I know I'm going to be hurting for it. Meaning sometimes my biofeedback is more so achy and full of inflammation. Sometimes my biofeedback is this crazy looking puffy pocket under my eyes. And sometimes I get hurting, itching eyes. It just kind of depends. The fact of the matter is that your food choices should be a balance of your own personal preferences with regard to indulgences and healthier foods, however you want to categorize it. Okay. So again, most people have this, I'm on or off the wagon, I'm perfect or a shit show, because that is the perception that you have created in your mind. It has become your belief, therefore has become your story. It has become your fact. but that is not, it doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to be something that you continuously tell yourself forever. It can be changed. This is part of the reason why I created my academy, to help people get off of this. This is such an awful way of living. It's awful because you feel like you're doing so bad sometimes. And I just, but then when I feel perfect, I feel like I'm a rock star and I got all this confidence and I feel amazing. But then the next day, if I had a cookie, I feel like shit. And all of those great feelings are gone. You see what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have to feel like that. Shouldn't have to feel that way. You need to have that balance, you know? Okay, moving on. Your plate should be filled with your own personal preferences. I'm going to say it again. Your plate should be filled with your own personal preferences, the food that you love. What if I handed you a meal plan and I said, you got to eat lamb chops and you have to eat, white rice and you got to have broccoli. And you're like, I hate this. This does not taste good to me. I think lamb is disgusting. Broccoli gives me the worst gas ever. And rice just makes my skin curdle, right? You know what I mean? So why in the world would you be seeking out something that is going to keep you in that dieter's mindset, as I call it, skipping your journey of freedom, right? And has you eating foods that you don't like? That sounds awful, doesn't it? It sounds absolutely terrible. I don't know about you. Sounds terrible to me. All right, so let's move on. Here we go. So here's an example. I'm going to give you a couple examples along the way here. This is my dear friend, Erin. She made this post and I loved it. I was like, this is so perfect. She says, I can eat brownies and ice cream and still lose pounds and inches. I'm amazed and so very grateful. Feeling so much more energetic and joyful. Doesn't that feel amazing to you? Energetic and joyful. Because nothing's off limits. There's no rule books. There's no demonizing. There's no nothing. There's no calorie restrictions. There's no, okay, I can't have this, but I can have that. The can or can't life. That's no fun either. Right? So, we need to understand that you don't have to live a life of restrictions. You don't have to live this life of I'm either fully indulging or I am, restricting. Right? Okay, so we're going to talk about this. Some of you may recognize this because I have talked about this before, because this is something that I talk about all the time. This is something that has everything to do with the way that you are operating in your life. This is everything to do with your personal operating system that is going on inside of your brain. So we all have filters that run through our mind. So to kind of break this down in a simple way, the bottom line is we have senses. You've all heard of, visual, taste, smell, right? The senses. So we as individuals, when we have something presented in front of us, whatever it may be, we are going to take this information and it's going to run through our filters. It's going to run through our values, our belief systems, the decisions, the memories. It's going to run through all of those things. Then you're going to create what's called an internal representation, which is a movie, like a movie or a picture in your head. That is then going to create a state of mind, meaning like a feeling, right? So there's a state of mind. So if you're in a state of mind, your state of mind affects the way that you feel, ultimately, which is your physiology, ultimately affecting your behavior. And the behavior that comes from that is ultimately the outcome, the choices, and then the outcome that come from that. Okay, so internal representation. Think, okay, I've got this in front of me. Okay, now, if I choose this path, it's going to look like this. If I choose this path, it's going to look like that. You know what I mean? So you have this internal representation, which then creates your state of mind, affects your physiology. It feels good or it feels not so good. This is kind of like the inner compass feeling, right? Then ultimately affects your behavior, choices, and then outcome. So this has a lot to do with your personal perceptions of things. You and I could look at the same thing and perceive it in a very different way because of the way that we delete, distort, and generalize things. It has everything to do with experiences. It has everything to do with who has influenced us, right? And so we might look at something and say, oh, that is so not for me. And oh, that is for me because of your internal representation. But and the other side of the token is something that you might be resisting could be the one thing that you actually need the most. So if you find yourself continuously resisting something, but you keep getting the same outcome over and over and over again, then that means that you really need to shift gears and probably experience the one that you keep resisting. Okay. So if you have any questions on that, please comment, and then I will always go back to the questions at the end. So you're thinking, well, how is this affecting belly fat? It has everything to do with belly fat, everything, okay? Because the way that you perceive things, again, affects your state of mind and physiology. So what did we talk about last week? We talked about stress, okay? So a lot of things that go on within you internally, your body oftentimes is perceiving it as stress, okay? All right, moving on. So just a little science fact here for you. Your RAS, which is your reticular activating system, located in your brain. It filters down the 2.3 billion bits per second that we are given via our 5 senses. So what I'm trying to tell you is that we have something recording all the time. And we are getting 2.3 billion bits per second. Now, out of the 2.3 billion, we're only getting 126 consciously, 126. Out of 2.3 billion. So think of that in toothpicks. 2.3 billion toothpicks, and out of those, we're only getting 126. It's crazy town. So do you see, it has everything to do with the filters, has everything to do with your beliefs, values, identity, mood, time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so hopefully this will kind of shift your perspective a little bit, meaning that you will start to open your mind to some different things. If you continue to keep getting this, I call it liver stew. If you keep getting liver stew, or if you're looking in the mirror and you are continuously disgusted with yourself, or you're looking in the mirror and you're like, why do I keep ending up in this situation? Or you're looking at your bank account and you're like, why the fuck did I ever have any money? Or why am I still in this neighborhood? And you know what I mean? It's like, it has everything to do with your belief system. Has everything to do with all of that. Subconscious is a very powerful thing. You've got your subconscious and your conscious mind, and we're not going to go down this route, but I could do a whole separate live on this, but we have to bring them in alignment. So you heard me talk about too, like the psychology and the physiology. These two oftentimes are not in alignment. They're kind of like two ships passing in the night. You've got your mind saying one thing and your body saying another, and you're never listening to your body, but your body is constantly doing data and taking, lab tests in it within itself all the time, because what? It wants to survive and reproduce, right? And so if you are constantly avoiding the information that your body is trying to tell you, then you're always going to have the same output, okay? Okay, so moving on. Now, this is a super important slide. This is probably one of the most valuable things that I have ever learned in my life. This is not something that I created. This is something that I have learned through the 12-week year. And it was absolutely life-changing for me, because I myself have personally lived between phase 1 and phase 3 for years and years and years. And maybe you will find that you are somebody that has been living in that part as well. So it's called the emotional cycle of change. So what it is when, let's say, for example, you decide that you want to make some change. So what happens? You get really excited, because that's kind of like a dopamine hit. Like, woo, I'm so excited. I start on Monday. Everything's going to change. And you're not seeing like the difficulties along the way. You're not really seeing the journey. You're just seeing the outcome, which is fine. That's cool. It kind of gets you started, whatever. Then you go to phase 2, and this is kind of when things start to get a little bit uncomfortable. You start hitting those thorns. Things are starting to annoy you a little bit. They're not as easy as you thought. Then you start questioning, is this really worth it? This doesn't fit in my rule book and restriction. I mean, there is rule books and restrictions, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know, and you have this whole battle going on in your mind, because it's Thursday night. And everybody from the office is going to happy hour, and you think that you can't have, because you're on this thing. It's either all or whatever. It's the shit show or perfect, right? But that's honestly not true. It's just your belief, your perception. It's just the way that you're perceiving things. It's this way that you've been going about things, right? And so then you're like, I don't know. All right, whatever. I'll just get through this week. I'll see how it goes. This is kind of stressing me out though. I don't really like all the stress that's happening. All right. So then we get down to phase 3. I don't know, man. I'm really missing out. I'm missing my cheese, or I'm missing my pizza, or whatever. I just feel so restricted in this. I just don't like it. I'm just going to wait till after the holidays. I'm going to wait till the first of the year. I'm going to wait till after boating season. You see, and there's the same pattern goes on. So the phase 3 is really where most people quit, and then they turn around, and then they find their new dopamine hit, and they're back at phase 1. And then they live their life through that vicious cycle, when in fact, if they just change their perception about things, if they change their daily practices, if they started to stack habits, and if they started to maybe enlist some help, and they got through that valley of despair, they would be on this other side, which is, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world over here. Kind of reminds me of when I put my son's virtual reality mask on. Whoa, this is the craziest, cool, most awesome place ever. It's where success and fulfillment lies. You aren't constantly like in the back of your head going, oh, you don't care anymore so much about what the scale says. You're feeling good. You're living life. You're being social. You're enjoying yourself because you're not so obsessed about what the scale is saying, because you know that you are in control now. You know that you perceive all of these things that used to obsess about are not affecting you anymore. That weight loss just becomes a byproduct of all of these amazing changes that you're implementing in your life, because that's what happens when you truly embrace the journey, which is the transformation. Hence becoming weight loss. And all of a sudden you're skinny and you're like, oh my God, how'd that happen? You know what I mean? I wasn't obsessing. I wasn't eliminating. I wasn't demonizing, right? So there's a lot of behavioral shifts that need to happen in order for you to really achieve your desired goals and results. And it takes time and patience. It's like I had mentioned in the beginning, I am not your quick fix person. I used to be a quick fix person. Hence, I am recovered, and which is the reason why I have this coaching business of mine, so I can help other people do the same and get rid of that awful way of living. It's terrible. Okay. All right. So again, your behaviors affect your state affects your choices, and your choices affect your overall outcome. Right. So again, if you have any questions, just make sure that you comment and I will get to you for sure. So the thing that we're not focusing on, I had mentioned before that the thing that you're focusing on is probably the wrong thing. Most people think calories in, calories out, exercise more, eat less. That's all stress. And also the calorie factor. Yes, calories matter, but hormonal balance also matter too. Now, when we are not focusing on the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, which is the autonomic nervous system that we all have within our body, if we are constantly over here in the fight or flight, which is, the constant stress mode, over here, which is the peace mode, which is your parasympathetic, and it's more, rest, digest, and you're more in alignment to rebooting your metabolism and such. The fight or flight sympathetic stress mode, that's more damaging your metabolism. And that's where most of the world are living. They're living between phases 1 and 3. They're constantly starting over. They're restricting their calories. They're exercising more, eating less. It's all hustle, go, go, go. There's no downtime. There's no relaxation because they feel guilty. They don't take naps. They're either eating way too little or eating way too much because they're a perfect or a shit show. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on. Does this make sense to you? Give me a 1 if it does, or a 2 if you think I'm crazy. And I say you think I'm crazy in a good way, like, what? I don't get this. Just want to make sure that you're with me here. Okay. I keep looking down because I'm looking at my phone, because I want to make sure that we're in alignment with the slide, although there is a little bit of a delay. Okay. Moving on. So which one are you? Option 1, which is more on the stress side. Option 2, this is more of that parasympathetic. Option 1, procrastinator. which actually means perfectionist. Remember, perfect or a shit show. Always on a diet, exercising more and eating less, always looking for the quick fixes, shakes, pills, all that. Choices that feel restricted, indulgences equal guilt and being bad, sliding between the phases 1 and 3, constantly on and off a diet or always starting over. I'm going to start over tomorrow. I'm going to start over Monday because I was bad. I had a cookie. So, hence always putting yourself in this fight or flight mode, which is an ideal situation for fat storing. Remember how I talked about hormone situations last time? Well, option 1 is definitely a hormone situation for fat storing. Okay. All right. Option 2, you're living a lifestyle according to your own personal preferences. You're actually eating foods that you enjoyed. You're not demonizing anything. You're mindful of your choices and you're at peace with indulgences. You feel in alignment because it feels good. You're living a life on the other side. You're beyond that valley of despair. You're living a life moving forward and continuing to achieve other goals besides the diet shit. When you're so obsessed about the diet, everything else gets put on hold because you feel like I'll do it after I lose 10 pounds, or I'll get there after, or I just need to lose 5 more pounds, or after I lose the weight, then I'll do it. If you find yourself saying that, then hello, you're living a life. Oh, I'm sorry, I already read that. And this is more of your rest, digest, and alignment to reboot your metabolism. And it's an ideal situation for losing fat. This is why oftentimes when you see those people that, they're releasing weight like crazy, you're like, how are they doing that? Well, sure, they've got a lot of things that they're balancing out, but a lot of it has to do with what's going on up here. They're balancing their shit out. They've gotten off the diet wagon. They're not, this all or nothing, perfect or shit show, right? Okay. So what kind of states of mind do you think that these bring? Option 1 and option 2. So there's definitely different states of emotion, states of mind that come with this. So as I had showed you before, you've got that woman's face, which has everything to do with, okay, my perception, my belief system, my filters. It's going to then create certain states of mind. So option 1, which is more of that sympathetic fight or flight stress mode, that's always going to be giving stress and anxiety, fear, guilt, frustration, obsessive, okay, jealousy, fight or flight. That's very harmful to metabolism. Option 2, happy, hopeful. You're more at ease. You feel confident. You're in control. You feel prideful. You don't feel like you got to hide. Option 1, you're constantly, pinching an inch. And option 2, you're like, let me go ahead and tuck in my shirt because I'm feeling good. I'm releasing weight. I'm doing awesome, All right. So let me just share a little bit of information about me. Some of you know me, some of you don't. So here is a little bit of my background. This is just me since 1996. I started in the wellness industry in 1991, as a matter of fact, but that picture was like, oh yeah, this is when I was really in the thick of it. Personal trainer for many years. I was a diehard weekend warrior. Perfect through the week. Then I was a shit show on the weekends. I would fall off the wagon, drink like a fish, and go to Taco Bell. I lived at the exercise more, eat less model for years, damaging my metabolism, ultimately having Hashimoto's. Okay. Literally spent half my life in this vicious cycle. That's why I said I spent half of my life between phase 1 and 3 of that. Sure. There is something that's called a Facebook highlight reel, right? So it's the same. My internet is unstable and I don't know why, but we're going to continue to move forward. Okay. So today I'm a metabolism and hormonal fat loss coach. I'm also an NLP practitioner. NLP has everything to do with neuro-linguistic program. It has everything to do with your subconscious mind. Okay. Which has a lot to do with your personal growth. It also has a lot to do with stunting your growth personally. If you are not tapping into that subconscious, then you're going to be continuously living under an operating system that is not going to be serving you. And I have the amazing privilege of coaching dozens of incredible women. Okay. So let me talk about Kimmy for a second here. Kimmy, she was actually a client of mine back in the personal training days. And then when I had launched my Reboot Academy, she hopped on board, and she has lost a total of 77 pounds to date. She's still going. I mean, I don't really think she's got a whole lot more to lose, but look at her. She looks amazing. She's happy. She has lost like body with fuel. Okay. Pretty awesome, huh? Super, super proud of her. Super proud of her. So here she is again. She's free. She doesn't diet anymore. She's not on any wagon. She's not restricting, none of that stuff. There's no more diets. There's no more exercise, more eat less. That's what the EMEL stands for. And she actually sent me this message the other day, these two images that says, you know, that feeling when you have to start dieting again and when you just want a cheeseburger, you know, I'm just so happy that that's not me anymore. She's happy. You know, for how many years she had that weight of her weight in her mind. And now she just, you know, she's happy with her indulgences when she does have them. She understands consequences if there are any. All right. So this is Erin, actually. Erin was the one that talked about the brownies and the ice cream. And the reason why I wanted to spotlight her really quick is because we've gotten her over on that success side now. And one of the main reasons why I do what I do is because this isn't just about weight loss. This is about helping you to become a completely different person and living a completely different life. She's lost 10 pounds in probably 2 months now, I think it has been. And, you know, she says here that, you know, she would not even consider doing any kind of a vendor show for her line of work. And now she feels like, you know, I can do what I set my mind to. It's giving me the drive and finally say yes to a vendor show. So to me, that's freedom. When you have that feeling of, I can do whatever I want. I'm over here now. I'm not so obsessed and worried about my weight and what I'm doing and not doing, and that I'm not good, or, you know, that I'm being bad and all of that, right? All right, moving on. So listen, my friends, several of you had talked about in the survey that I had sent out that you procrastinate. But let me just tell you, procrastination is actually perfectionism, because you're waiting for the perfect time. You're waiting for everything to be perfect. You're waiting for situations to be perfect, and it just doesn't, it's never going to happen. So your perception that things need to be perfect, or that everything has to be ideal, or your financial situation needs to be in place in order to move forward, or if you got to wait for the holidays, you got to wait for Sally's wedding to be over because you don't have any self-control and you just don't want to stress while you're there. You just want to enjoy yourself. You know, like the perfect scenario situation is never going to present itself, ever. You know, I've had repeat same conversations with people like year after year after year, you know, and it's kind of funny. I'm like, well, nothing's going to change if nothing changes. You know, I can have this conversation again with you in a year, you know, and what's going to happen is the same, they're going to be the same and probably have more weight on them, you know? And so the thing of it is I want to relay that it's keeping you small, you know, trying to skip the transformation, trying to skip that journey, trying to, you know, skipping that work is keeping you small, and it's keeping you from achieving your dreams. It's keeping you in a place of, if you're feeling stuck, you know, there's a good chance that it all comes down to how you are fueling your body and your choices in that. It all comes down to nutrition, because nutrition has everything to do with your energy levels and how you're thinking and how you're feeling, but also your perception and relationship of food. You know, I was very screwed up years ago when it came to food. I'm a former bulimic. I would binge and then I would purge through laxatives. I would exercise 3 times a day and I would eat a potato for lunch. and my perception of food, my relationship with food, the whole thing was a real mess. Okay. And so, as you knew, then I would party and then I would binge on Taco Bell. I mean, it was just awful. It was just an awful, awful thing. But, once I finally realized that how much damage I was doing to my body and, how it just wasn't serving me and how I was playing small, for so many years, I just kept self-sabotaging myself. It's crazy, to think about that. It's not a fun way of living. And in some sense, we, self-sabotage because I think sometimes we are afraid to let our light shine, that we're comfortable with playing small, that we're afraid we might just hurt Sally Sue, because sometimes there's that friend that gets mad if you start to do better in your life. Those I call the crabs in the bucket, so you kind of need to recognize who those people are. When you find them, make sure that you run or at least put them at arm's length. All right. So here's the thing. I want you to say this to yourself. No more saying, I know what I got to do. I just have to do it, because it's a lie. You don't really know what to do. Most people don't. They might in the beginning. They know, like, okay, I know. But usually what most people do, I know what I got to do, and I just have to do it, is going to be something that is metabolism damaging, in the sense that I know what I got to do. I just got to get up, lose an hour of sleep. Now I'm at 6 or 5 hours, go to the gym, run for an hour, stress out my body even more, eat less calories. There's some more stress for you. You guys catching my drift here? So most of the time, the things that you think you need to do are the exact opposite. Most people perceive that they need to take things away, meaning like take food away, take sleep away, and it's like, no, that's not the case. Most of the time, we need to be adding things in order to start seeing some kind of results. That means like adding in more sleep, adding in more food, adding in more personal development, as far as like maybe mindset work. You know what I mean? So there's all of this stuff that people think is what they need to do, but it's really backfiring, or it's not working at all. So oftentimes people say, I just don't know what to do. I mean, it just keeps packing on. I just keep gaining weight, because they don't have any idea or knowledge about the hormones, that they're not considering the fact that the reason why they're probably packing more weight on is because they're probably putting themselves in very stressful situations, and then stacking more stressful situations. Hence what? Cortisol. Hence, remember I talked about the hormonal situations, right? Hence more belly fat, hence more back fat, hence more fat, just in general. Okay. All right. Any questions? Just let me know. And just like I said, because there's a good chance that you don't know what you got to do. Oftentimes, what used to work for us in the past isn't going to work anymore, because of the fact that your metabolism has changed, your circumstances have changed, your body has changed, especially if you are somebody that has menopause or PCOS. Your circumstances are not the same. So if you are menopausal and you're doing what you did when you were in your 30s and your 20s, it's not going to work. You can't do the whole exercise more, eat less. And the other problem is that, when you do that, people generally do it for too long. And when you do something for too long, your body says, sorry, I can't reproduce or survive in this way of living. So we got to change things up. Does that make sense? So I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes on here. That is the conclusion of day 2. I hope that was eye-opening for you. I hope that you understand, that you don't have to demonize. You can eat the foods you love and still get the results that you desire. Your perceptions and the psychology of weight loss more than likely needs to change. And most of the time, if you are not achieving the desired results that you want, it's because you're not focusing on the things that you need to. And like I said, stress is one of the biggest things. Instead of taking things away, we need to add things in. We need to be more personalized and such, right? So if you have any questions, like I said, I'm going to hang out here for just a minute. But we do have our second day, or excuse me, our third day. Today was our second day. So we have our third day that is coming on Tuesday. So in 2 days, we're going to come here. This is our third and final day. What I want you to do is continue to work your plate visual. Who has been using the hypnosis? Who has tried the closed eye process hypnosis? If you have, say I have. That is another major thing to help you get more sound and restful sleep. Okay. So, make sure that you're utilizing that tool as well. I gave you not only the plate, but I gave you a list of food ideas so that it can kind of help take that stressor off of you as far as I don't know what to eat. But again, if you just look at your plate, you're like, oh, okay, I need a vegetable and or two or three fruits or vegetables. Okay, great. Okay, here. All right, the protein, chicken, awesome. Okay, a little starch. Okay, let's have a little, couple of red potatoes. Easy breezy. Lemon squeezy. And you have that and you use that and you just keep moving forward with that. Now, to some people, it might be like, oh my God, I'm just not used to this. I'm not used to eating food like this. I just feel like I'm going to get fat. But in fact, your body's probably saying, thank you. Like, thank you for feeding me, So, okay, I don't see any questions, but feel free to private message me if you have any questions that you feel like maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable private messaging me. That's totally fine. And Danielle says she can't wait to watch again without distractions. Totally cool. This will be in the Facebook group. And I will be sending you the replay in addition. So I hope that you did find this valuable. And, if you want, comment with your biggest takeaway tonight, because I really love the feedback, because I need to know how I can serve you better. Okay. All right. So we will see you Tuesday night. I know that my automation kind of got screwed up. My email automation was a little screwy the other day. It sent you yesterday, like the email you're supposed to get today. I think I got it fixed. But otherwise, just plan on meeting here Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.